Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome back to another FRI-Q&A. Thanks again for all being a part of the artist coaching community. If you didn't know, every Friday you're able to send in your questions and I will answer them on Friday. So on Thursday you're able to send your questions. I will post something. Check the previous post if you haven't seen it. And on Friday I drop a movie like this where I explain your questions. So let's dive into the questions from today. First one's from JoeySuki. What do you think of Lander mastering services? Well, I'm not sure if that's going to work. I talked previous about this, but if you've seen the movie with me and Jeffrey about talking about mastering, we actually kind of went into this subject. The thing is, mastering is such a hard thing to do, and there's so many dynamics and so many variables that you have to deal with. And I'm not sure how Blender works, but I think it's just some kind of software where you put in the track and he kind of automatically meters how it should sound. So I don't really think that could work. Of course, it would sound nice and okay, but I think if you send it to a real mastering company, it would sound way better. So yeah, depending on what kind of budget you're working with and what you're expecting, it could be a nice service. I'm not sure. Labinot is asking, producing original versus remixes. When you start out, what's your opinion, the pros and cons? When you start out, I think it's really smart to do both actually, especially because doing the originals, people can know what to expect from you, so what you're able of and what you can create as a producer. But on the other hand, remixes and collaborations and bootlegs work really well to create a fan base actually, because it's easier for you to grow as an artist. By doing collaborations, you're able to also lift on the success of the other person and be available in the fan base of that person as well and be visual there. So you'll gain more followers by doing that, if the track's well, of course. And with bootlegs, it's easy to play for DJs. The crowd know the originals most of the time if you take a familiar song. It just works really well and it's easy to play for a lot of DJs, so it's really easy to gain more awareness around your tracks and around your brand if you do bootlegs or remixes or whatever. Luc van Scharen, what do you eat for breakfast? I actually always eat 2 sandwiches, one with peanut butter and the other one with hummus, chicken and cucumber and tomato. And milk, of course, I like milk. Yoprasun. Best approach to make solid contacts in the industry. That all comes down to building a network and to just build relationships. In the end, you always have to think about the fact that the music industry is a people's business, and try to approach people the same way you did with your own friends. Just try to create contacts and try to create relationships with people based on similar interests and just being a nice guy. Most important part is maintaining the relationship. So once you are in contact with, let's say, a Spotify playlist owner or a manager or a booker or whatever, the most important part is maintaining that relationship. So keep putting in your interest and keep putting in your energy to actually maintain the relationship. That's the same thing you do with your friends, so try to do it with your network as well. Sorry for the cough, by the way, but I've been dealing with it with like a month and a half now. It's really annoying. That was a question from Yoprasun, by the way. This one's from Luis Gaspar. I can't make a good sound lead. Should you stay in drop and try to make it better if I need more than 10 days, or should I leave the lead and then end the ID? I think you should spend more time in sound design. So try to work a lot with creating your own sounds, doing a lot of things, trying a lot of new things, downloading new plugins, downloading new samples. Just try to get used to it and get better into creating sounds, because if this is the thing that blocks you from finishing your tracks, you should fix it. And I would spend a lot of time. The same thing with bicycle, learning how to drive a bicycle or learning how to drive a car. You just have to spend time learning it, and once you've learned it, you will never forget it again. It's the same with music production, it's the same with creating good leads and good sound design. Spend a lot of time practicing it, and eventually you will become a professional in it and you will never forget it again. Nicolas Chung. I wanted to ask the pros and cons between releasing your track on music labels and release on your own profile. I actually did a movie about this. I recorded a video. It's on my YouTube channel if you want to check it. It's about 8 minutes, I think, but I will go through it shortly. Music labels can still be really interesting, depending on what they can offer to your release. Because if they just simply put it out and they don't do anything else alongside it, then why even bother, because you can release it yourself. The most important thing is what I would go for is still works? Yeah, I just thought it went off. Anyway, double check if the label